Hi everyone, very good afternoon. This is Ekta from the Analytics. We will start in next 2 to 3 minutes, just waiting for a few more audience to join in. Mr. Anup, I hope that would be okay to start in next 2 minutes.
Yeah, that will be fine. Yeah.
Great, great. Thank you. Hello all, very good afternoon. Am I audible? If somebody can tell me?
Yes, sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, hello all, a very good afternoon. Myself, Ekta Dubey, and on behalf of the Analytics team and our partner eCubix, we welcome you all on a very interesting virtual roundtable, which is Profit from Process Efficiencies through Industry 4.0 for the pharmaceutical industry. So, before we start this very engaging roundtable, there are few guidelines that I would like to highlight and make you people are aware of. Requesting the attendees to be on mute when the speakers are taking the session. We shall be definitely encouraging Q&A with our audience who have joined. You need to follow certain guidelines. You can raise your hands, unmute yourself, and put your question to our panel and our roundtable speakers. You need to introduce yourself and your organization and put the question. Or also you can put the question on the chat box from where we would love to take it and address it to everyone. So now, before I start, I would quickly like to introduce our partner, eCubix. eCubix offers digitally intelligent solutions worldwide. It includes real-time monitoring and analytics, IIoT integration, edge analytics, digital logbook, and predictive analytics using AI ML. It takes the responsibility to engage with client in opportunity assessment, calculating value of improvement, building a business blueprint, delivering required hardware, software services, and support to ensure that the improvement initiative is successfully implemented. So now, before I start, I think, Mr. Anup, we would be playing your corporate video. So can I do that?
Yes, ma'am. Please. Yeah.
Thank you. Give me a moment, please. Please let me know if my screen is visible.
We are eCubix, the growth catalyst in your digital transformation journey. Tuned to the pulse of the digital future. We drive innovation with the digital technology ecosystem. From a humble beginning in 2006, we have transformed eCubix, as one of the top Industry 4.0 solution providers. We are now serving clients in 15 plus countries. We are a CMMI Level 3 certified company, serving 100,000 plus users with a strong team of 200 plus technocrats. So far, industry has achieved more than $350 million saving from eCubix products and services, and the same is still counting. Our presence is in industries like cement, agrochemical, pharmaceutical, pulp and paper, minerals and metals, ports, oil and gas, power. eCubix is organized in 4 strategic business units, each focusing on different area of an enterprise. Smart Factory to improve production process and asset performance. Smart Supply Chain for better fleet management. Smart Channel for brand protection through genealogy and serialization. And Smart Sales for field activity management. eCubix brings global best products to solve industry problems through strategic business partnerships with world leaders like OSI Soft, now Aviva, Seek, Waterfall, Saturn, Microsoft. eCubix is your growth catalyst for digital age technologies.
So on that note, we had a wonderful corporate video played
Yep.
for eCubix. Now I would like Mr. Anup Garg, who leads the Marcom for eCubix, to share some interesting insights on the subject. So Mr. Anup, over to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Just give me a minute. I'll just,
Yes, please.
yeah, I'll share the screen. Yeah, is it visible to all?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, okay. So, well, first and foremost, I welcome this August gathering. It really fills my heart with pride to, have you people sitting here and listening to us. Thank you very much for the same. Now about eCubix, you've already gone through the corporate video. I'll not repeat many things. In that corporate video, we have tried to tell you that yes, we have done something really well. And one of the best things we have is our customers who speak a lot about us just by, by being able to cater to them. Yes, we may be one of the best to be in this business. But you know what makes us this? The whole thing which I am now going to present you is what makes us separate from all others that are into this whole thing. So first, the topic profit from process efficiencies through industry 4 and industry 5 applied to pharma industry. Now, eCubix is, of course, a business transformation and consulting service company that brings information technology and operational technology together, right? So 80-85% of companies will be in the IT area, but very few companies are in the OT area. And we are the ones who are here in the integrating both of them. Now, as every organization is still working on industry 4, most of the times you talk about, I go to public sector companies, I go to ONGC, I go to areas like GAIL, Gas Authority of India Limited. All of them were talking to me, Anup, we have to put in industry 4. How good you are in industry 4? And I always take a lot of pride in saying that we as a company are now transitioning towards Industry 5. So Industry 4 is and Industry 5, I would say, mixed together really makes the world a more better place to live in. And Industry 5 brings the focus to humans at the center of manufacturing, which exactly shows in this first slide, where this man who is standing up above all this factory, he is not our customer, he is not our stakeholder, he is the operator, he is the person who is running the show, right? He is the one because of whom all of us are talking, are earning. The directors are earning. Everyone is earning. Everyone is having a good life because of this guy who really works hard in the organization. And all we want to do is bring him some really good tools which make his work much more better and much more efficient. So what are the business challenges that any organization today suffers? First is regulatory compliances. And we better be very careful about regulatory compliance, not because government will shut us down, but because our kids deserve a world which we would leave for them, which is a better world from what they are at present in. Coming to the other thing, diverse data sources for integration. So wherever you go, there's LIMS, there is someone working on X area of software, somebody is working on Y area of software, and he's saying that my software is better, my software is good, SCADA application is fantastic. What do I need this? Why do I need that? Well, all these diverse data sources have to be integrated into one single source of truth. Well, that's what we do. And that's what we say when we say we integrate data. Real-time performance reporting. So whenever there is performance reporting and I tell my boss that my boss is, by the way, Vipul Shah, and I go and tell him he's the CEO and tell him, boss, I'll perform better next time. You know what he says? He has a very one single word. He says, shut up. Tell me how you are performing today. Aaj ki tankha leni hai ki nahi? At least he doesn't speak like that to me straight away. But I can hear from his heart, I hope you have better bosses who don't think that way. But jab tak performance real time nahi hai, it's not a performance. Okay. So we will be able to offer you real time performance reporting. Last but not least will be consistent quality. Now, when you talk about consistent quality, what do we mean by that? What is quality? Quality is something which people like, right? For a business enterprise, quality is something which people like. Job for a medicine, if it works on a human without any side effects, it's a good quality medicine. Issue is of its consistency, right? It has to be consistent. And I call this, and we all call this as TQM, Total Quality Management. Well, can this platform give you that? Yes. We have this. And last, we will say data exchange and traceability. So wherever there's a data exchange between a different factory, between your vendors, are you exchanging the right data? Can this data be traced? Yes. eCubic Smart Factory is a program which impacts all these areas, right? And this is the solution deck. So solution deck of eCubic's, DG Pharma that we call it, is basically based on 4 platforms. eCubic's e-checklist, EMR, right? EMR is the manufacturing record. That's what we are trying to say. Aviva Pi system. Now it's no more Aviva Pi system. It's now Schneider Pi system. So Schneider Pi system. And last but not the least will be eCubic's data reliability framework. So when everything is perfect, you have all your data lake in place. Now I'll tell you an example. Dr. Reddy's, they started off with around 10,000 tags and 20,000 tags with us. Today they have around 150,000 tags with us. Now, can you imagine that each tag, each data point, it is working fine every day? Can anyone check? Nobody can check that. So we built this last platform up from scratch, and it was really been a wonderful experience when we found that lot many data points are such that we assume they are working, but they are not working. And if a data point doesn't work, the decision will be wrong. Okay. So these are the four platforms, four pillars on which our platform works. And what it gives out is use cases. And there are thousands of use cases. I'm just putting around 6, 7, 8 of them. So one is this golden tunnel, golden batch. This is all about TQM, total quality management, batch to batch comparison. We'll give you 100 millions of batches. You can have multiple batch comparison in a single graph. We can give you alarms and events. They will always be coming to you. You can tell me critical alarm should be given to the director and this alarm should be going to this place. We can manage everything of that. Events and root cause analysis. I remember when I was young, whenever there was a root cause analysis meeting, I knew that for half a day I will sleep, because पहले तो root cause पे आने के लिए they will take a lot of time, and when problem identify होगी, by that time it's already 5:30 and that meeting will be tending to move towards the 9 p.m. And I'll remember, the eyes of my wife were red eyes, she will say, you are again late. Well, no more these problems will come to you. Your wife will be very happy because root cause analysis will be an instantaneous process here. When it comes to again AI/ML based optimization, we can offer this to you. Condition based maintenance. Let me tell you, the moment scheduled maintenance moves from scheduled to condition, 8% benefit on your maintenance happens straight away. I can prove it to you, but as I move forward, we'll do that. Descriptive and interactive dashboards. That's the last thing. It is basically visualizations that we give you. Now, what does this all things bring out to you? Well, let's talk about money now. So in Dr. Reddy's, when we started off a pilot at all these are pilots which we did, right? So at the first instance, we did a pilot on their compression machine. What happened? The rejection, average rejection was 1.2 kg per compression batch taken, and 30 to 40 minutes to start a compression machine. This reduced to 10 to 15 minutes and the rejection went down to 0.5 kg per batch. Well, what we did was, imagine 25 to 30 batches a day into 365 days. I mean, I didn't bother to calculate. Anyone can see. We would have given, I think, 50% of the cost that they were giving to us for the program. We had already returned it to them in that first single event. ITC papers. They had around 5 paper machines. In the first paper machine that we worked, PM4, paper machine 4, we ended up saving 80% of paper loss reduction was there. And we gave them around 1,000 to 1,500 tons of extra finished paper. Each ton is a 50,000 rupees cost nowadays. This is the kind of output we gave to ITC in their first instance. Today, we are working with ITC in their food area. We are working with ITC in their tobacco and the nicotine area as well, right? We talk about Hindustan Zinc Limited. In very few, just one single instant, we were able to save 2.5 crores to them. USD 300,000 was saved in CapEx area due to one use case. And there are thousands of use cases that they have applied. I can keep on talking about it, but this is where the ROI comes from. Now coming to these pillars. So first and foremost is this e-checklist and EMI. And let me tell you, this is one of the most wonderful products that we have. I mean, okay, let's talk about first thing. What does this e-checklist brings in your mind? Well, for me, it looks like a boring sheet of paper, which has a lot of instructions, which tells Anup to do an X thing before I put on a light switch. I have to check this, do that. It's quite a boring life to keep looking at a checklist and working. But, and it, it used to impede my ego also when I was asked to do that. But do you know what? This checklist is what is saving you all your life, and you are actually living around it. I'll give you an example. When the first twin engine aircraft was manufactured, B-52 bomber in World War II, which is the most successful bomber. Around 1,500 such aircrafts were made and sold by Boeing. The first 8 prototypes, they sold it to American government. First flight, it crashed. Second flight, again it went bonkers. And they called that as they kept it on the side and called it as a flying coffin. No one was supposed to fly it. But one day, 2 friends started flying this. They took a bet and they flew it. And when the commander asked, after 8, 9 sorties, they found that no accident happened. They asked, what did you do? And they just showed them a checklist. Today, every Boeing, every plane that takes off, if you remember, just see what the aerospace is doing. She is actually ticking on a checklist and telling the captain, yes, captain, flight is full. Now the time to take off. And the captain then says, please sit on your places. I am about to take off. Every time this happens, this is the checklist for you. It actually, and this is not what I have brought out from myself. This example is in a very beautiful book on Checklist Manifesto by Dr. Atul Gawande. And this Dr. Atul Gawande is a doctor in America in the Anthony Hopkins Hospital, America, which is the #1 institution there. And he talks about how checklist is more important than even the medical science in saving people, right? So ultimately, what does this e-checklist do? Today, in any industry, especially in pharma, we will be able to ensure efficiency, consistency of recipe management, safety in all operations. To handle all compliance, one would require cumbersome paperwork, manual record keeping, well, no more. You call eCubex and eCubex comes and gives you this beautifully highly configurable solution, which will provide you a complete digitization of the process. We call it paper to glass technology. And if you want to know where have I tested it, I have made this program. Very good. Anup, where have you tested it? Can you believe it? We have tested it at BASF. BASF is the one who asked us to make it for them. And BASF Malaysia, BASF Taiwan, they all are manufacturing pharmaceutical ingredients. And that's where they use it. And we are trying to enter the paint area also, which will mean 400 factories where this will go in, right? We are trying to enter there. So that is again a part of story. And today we are trying to sell it to quite a few pharma companies. Already Mankind Pharma has taken the services. They have started on just, I would say, 7 days earlier. And many more pharma companies will be coming in because the impact you can see here, they are impacting your compliance, they are impacting your record keeping, workflow, work allocation, security, adherence to processes, 100% adherence can be there, integration, all your efficient secure data integration, they'll be able to handle demand, data access. So instant electronic data access of processes and records is there. See, if these records are lying in a file, no, in a bunch, they are of no use. But once I put a digitization on that and give you a report, that's where you are able to employ. You know, there are some employees which are very fast in working, but poor in processes. But there are some employees which are very good in processes, may not be that fast in working. We know where to put who, right? We know we need both of them. We don't need just ones who are very careful. We need both type of people. But you will know where to put which person, right? I move forward now. This is the process flow of each checklist. It's very easy to create a form. You assign the form to concerned stakeholder. The dynamic and flexible scheduling is there. Secure data entry is there on the handheld device. And this can be for your eyes only. This can be for the eyes of this person only. This can be configured that this is filled right at the machine station where he's standing, not sitting on his desk or while having dinner, he is filling it up. These all things can be stopped. And what more, there is a paper trail which able to validate the whole thing. you can see everything and you can check him day after tomorrow and say, boss, ये shortcut क्या तुमने किया है? Henceforth, don't do the shortcuts, right? Process flow for EMR, I'll not take much time. You do it every day. This is a manufacturing record. Just we have digitized this record. And this is a automatic file. This can be audited and it is 21 CFR rated. So you can get an audit done of a FDA, US FDA audit also can be done through this. Coming to Aviva Pi, well, I'll take very small amount of time here, but this is basically the heart of the whole operation. So we connect data sources. These are the sources, factories, processes, electrical data, etc. Everything. Collect, and what we do once we collect, we archive the data. Archiving has to be in such a way that the whole, our server doesn't get clogged. So this has its own software inside, which is able to keep a huge amount of data inside. Even a 10-year-old data you can, access at a click of a switch. Then contextualize data. The data is available. How do you contextualize it? Well, Pi Asset Framework helps us in this aspect. Then analytics. What do? Data is available. We need to analyze it. So man is not analyzing it. This is pre-analyzed. You tell us the logic, we put it inside, embed it, it gets analyzed automatically, and alert and notification comes to you. And this event frames is a beautiful program which will be able to capture any process, any activity. You are able to easily capture using this event frames as a software. And last but not the least is the visualization. And when we visualize, what we do, give you a visualization or enter it into your IT area, SAP, Oracle, SaaS, well, we can do everything, right? So we have 450 connectors here, this area, 450 connectors. We have numerous industry protocols. We have yet to find an area which we cannot integrate. This is how this thing functions. So this is that kind of a heart which will go into an elephant, it will go into a small fish, and it will work the same way. Coming to the data reliability framework, this is again a fantastic thing. As I have already told you, I don't want to take much time, but this is basically a notification center and it's a proactive action it will take. It will tell you on a given day which of the data are working, which of the data are orange, which of the data are green, right? So what you have essentially is a pre-qualified data, and you can go and check the data. You can make the things okay. And batch comparison statistics also comes out from this, which was really appreciated by one of the top guys in Dr. Reddy's. The single thing, batch comparison statistics, when we gave it in this area of programming. And where does eCubix offers value in manufacturing? We will increase your efficiency, optimize the production, energy management, asset health and maintenance. See what we are doing. We are just listening to machines. So a machine is a Punjabi machine, and there's a Chinese machine, and there's a German machine, and there is this machine which talks international language of Mars. I will connect all of it and bring it back to you in let's say any given language, let's say Excel or anything available to you. And naturally, when you know, if a machine says, hi, I'm feeling tired, you know what to do with that machine. You will tell the operator to oil the machine. Okay, it will become functioning well. Also, we can put in auto implementation programs. Edge analytics also can be brought up here. When it comes to our industrial presence, well, this is where I would say eCubix, is a step ahead of everyone. These are the industries we have worked in: power, pharmaceutical. Well, we are top class in power and pharmaceuticals. Here, if you talk to us, we know what you're talking. In cement, paper pulp, we have done a lot of work. Oil and gas, again, is a very important area which we are working very normally every time, every 6 months, we have a project of an oil and gas coming, and oil and gas projects are very huge ones. Then chemical and agrochemical projects, again, we are pretty good there. Mining metals, I will not say we are pretty good. We are quite okay, because we don't consider that as more of a, let's say, our area where I want to be the best one, eCubics. But they have this power fact along with this thing. We call it captive power plants. And there we create a lot of efficiencies. That's how mining metal becomes an automatic entry point. And in port, well, Adani, 80%, 90% ports are using our software. About eCubics, we have already talked a lot about it. I'll not. These are the big projects that we have already executed. Now, these are 3 use cases. I have already virtually, introduced them to you, but in ITC was a very strange thing where we were told that ITC project will be signed off by an operator. Machine operators, when they will say कि ये program अच्छा है, हम इसको buy करना चाहते हैं, तभी हमको पैसा मिलेगा, otherwise they will not pay us. So it was really challenging. This was one of the first cases we did, and they wanted to enable a single source of truth. They had a lack of historical data, which obviously we were ready to give them. Disparate and multiple data sources. Data accessibility was a problem. Time spent in stitching data used to be one of the biggest problems that they faced. Obviously, as I have already explained to you, these things were easily handled. And what benefits we gave you was 80% reduction in the losses due to ply bond, integration of different data sources, quick adoption by end users. This we had to do. We had to do, we were forced to do. And today, that is what is our biggest, I would say, winning point, that your end users, your operators will say, thank you, boss. आपने बहुत अच्छा मेरे लिए किया. आपने ये software मेरे लिए लेके आए. Right? Otherwise, mostly people say, operators, ये software मेरा नौकरी खाएगा. This is not going to happen here. Quicker root cause analysis will be available. You'll be able to point out to the mistakes of people. And once people are pointed out a mistake, they don't repeat it. Nobody repeats it. Anyway, a person who repeats mistake, I would say, I mean, that's a big error by God to him as a human. Otherwise, mistakes are human, but to repeat mistakes is inhuman, right? And this dialogue, Ms. Shravani, which she had given us, from descriptive to diagnostic to predictive to prescriptive, this is a journey that has stuck to us forever. Today, we tell to everyone that if you take our program, in 1.5 years, you will end up becoming a prescriptive company. So you'll be able to prescribe that what kind of needs you have from data, and your machine will be able to perform accordingly. Coming to Tata, Tata is one of the biggest cases that we handled in one of the smallest time. In 3 months, we had to implement a very big case. Today there are around I think 2 lakh tags. They started with 100,000 tags. Today we have more than 2 lakh tags there. And any new power case happens, Tata automatically calls us. We have also done some cyber security work for Tata Power, and we are the first Indian company to have done that. We did it in the I think Khopoli Power Unit or something. We did that. Trombe Power Unit. We have done that. Now this thing will be done in all other units as well. So they wanted basically centralized operation data historian. So I'll not like to read from this, but finally, migration of 100,000 tags were done without a loss of any data. Nothing got lost during migration. So they were already using this in a few factories. The migration data was 0. And then we have this I would say a testimonial, which is that we found Avio Predictive Analytics to be effective tool in predictive diagnostic space for detecting functional deviations and impending failures at an early stage for initiating suitable prioritize maintenance actions for enhanced reliability of critical power plant equipment. So they are also using predictive APM product, very expensive product. This is the only company which is at present using it. But yeah, they have already given us an order of a second phase, which means around 200 odd assets now to be integrated in the APM. Last but not the least is Dr. Reddy's use case. And Dr. Reddy's is such a, such a company which is so close to all of our pharmaceutical people's heart. It is one of the, I would say, when I was growing up, when I heard about Dr. Reddy, I always considered it as one of the top sector. I mean, it was Sony of medical cases when I started my life. At that time, if Dr. Reddy product is there, I would feel, yeah, this is music system with Sony, right? Because I remember buying Sony. मतलब मेरे डैडी से झगड़ा करके मैंने पहला सोनी का डेक लिया था. No, of course, those decks are of no requirement. But so there, as I already told you, in compression machine, we did a beautiful thing. We actually, created another compression machine for them. We uski availability हमने double कर दी, right? So today they are pretty happy with us, and we have done a lot many things for them. And on a question on cost of e-cubic system by Mr. Sarang Pandey, this was asked by a person from Mankind Pharma, and he, he just said one thing: don't ask what is the cost of this program. Just calculate the cost of not paying this. Once you get that, you will just go for implementing it. And they are one of our biggest mouthpieces. We can call them anytime. And whenever we have a new client, we use their, testimonial to get business for us. So that's all. Thank you very much. Over to Ekta now. I hope I have not taken too much time, Ekta.
No, that was absolutely fine. So thank you, Mr. Anup, for sharing your insights. Now, before we move on to an interesting panel discussion, do we have any questions? If you want to put across to Mr. Anup, we can take that one, and then we can move on to the another roundtable discussion.
The implementation partner with them, they told us the same thing, that they are also associated with Dr. Reddy. So like you are closely associated, or you are
we are closely associated with Dr. Reddy. Dr. Reddy has recently, they have moved to a policy of increasing their vendors for this same thing. So they have taken them for a smaller project, but for a big project like biologics, which is a huge project, we were the ones who did that. We already have 1.5 lakh tags working there, and cerebral, yes, they have been utilized there. See, let me tell you, boss, today there is always their competition. So a rupee here and there, anyone can enter, right? Well, they have started off with around 10,000 tags. They must be good people. I will not say they are bad people. They are our competitors, and they better be good because they will make us better. That's it.
okay, that's
But
that's,
yeah, they are not wrong when they are saying they are also in Dr. Reddy's. But most of the things in Dr. Reddy's we are doing. Whenever I have to, as I told you, whenever I have to have a new company entry, I go to Sarang Pandey and his boss, and they are the ones who keep talking about us till the cows come home. Let me tell you very frankly.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks so much. So now, as I mentioned, we are moving forward to our roundtable discussion, basically which talks about how the emerging technologies brought together by eCubic's DigiPharma, characterizing Industry 4.0 from connectivity to advanced analytics and automation, have the potential to revolutionize every element of pharma manufacturing labs. So we would be inviting our speakers, I would be inviting, and the discussion of the roundtable focuses on enabling regulatory compliance, strengthen the total quality system in medicine produced, identify process parameters to enable golden batches in the production cycle, How do you understand the real-time production monitoring with predictive ability to identify faults and the failures? And how do you understand the regulatory requirements for the data integrity? These are the few points that I would like my panel speakers to cover on the roundtable discussion. And I'm happy to introduce our panel members before we start. So we have Mr. Peenal Shah. He is the head quality control with IPCA Laboratories Limited. We have Mr. Gresh Kumar, head operational excellence with Sygen International Limited. Mr. Kiran Das, he's the director corporate affairs and business strategy with Pearls Pharmaceuticals. Mr. Rishikesh Sabnis, Head of Business Development with Aarti Industries Limited. And of course, we have Mr. Anup Garg, who would be adding his key points, lead con for Marcom with eCubics. So now, to start with, I would like to invite the thoughts of Mr. Gresh Kumar from Sygen International to share some strategic insights on the subject. Thank you, Mr. Gresh, for joining, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Ekta. Hope I'm audible. And thank you so much, Anup, for highlighting the efforts you and your organization are doing into this area. Because for pharma, I would just like to say, and not only for pharma, but even for other industries as well. See, the implementation of Industry 4.0 or Pharma 4.0 or technologies is no more a choice. So what my take on this is, it is something which is going to be a very fundamental requirement sooner and not later, but in fact in very soon time. So many organizations have actually gone ahead in this journey, and you rightly quoted the example of Dr. Reddy's. So Dr. Reddy's is one of the organizations I was previously associated with Dr. Reddy's. So I was their head of operational excellence for biologics business. So I have seen that journey in Dr. Reddy's as well. And when you talk about the regulatory requirements and connection of that with the documentation and with the kind of the depth or detail is required in terms of documentation. If you go through the analytics of the observations being found in all the FDA audits, if you try to just evaluate the data, you will find that data integrity and documentation errors is something which is the top contributing factor for all the organizations, especially in the subcontinent region. And what is the answer for that? So one answer is that we will keep improving, we will keep building our capabilities in terms of training people, developing people, and having focus on data integrity. But that's not something which is a long-lasting and permanent solution. So what is a permanent solution? I tell you, only technology is the answer, is the solution, which is going to handle those things from the root of the problem genesis. So it is something which is, as I mentioned, it is something which is going to be a kind of mandatory requirement, and hope my my respected panel colleagues will also agree with this, especially into the pharma sector, that this is something which is going to be very, very much fundamental requirement. Now, when we say about, the requirement of Industry 4.0, not only from the regulatory angle, but also from the angle of improving productivity and enhancing efficiencies. So that is something which is actually going to take. So if I take example of my organization, if I'm not going to do it, so what will happen to me? What is the cost to me? It is same thing what you highlighted, Mr. Anup, in your pointers, that if I'm not going to do it, I have to calculate the cost of not doing it. So if I don't do it, my competitors will do it. And then my clients, my customers will find better organizations compared to my organization to run those businesses. So in order to remain in the competition, that is something which I have to continue with that. So that is why I say this is no more a choice. So with this, I will take a pause here, because I took a long time in explaining that, and I would like my other fellow panelists to add on those points. Over to you, Anup and Ekta.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gresh. So now, yes, Mr. Anup, anything from your end?
No, nothing.
Okay. So I would now like to invite on the similar pointers that were discussed, thoughts of Mr. Kiran Das from Pulse Pharmaceuticals. So what do you have to say, Mr. Kiran, on the subjects that we're talking? Yeah. Thank you for joining. Yeah.
Thank you, Ekta. Thank you, Anup. Hope I'm audible. Yeah.
Yes, you are.
So first, let me second the thoughts of Girish Kumar. Absolutely right. Regulatory compliances are becoming the most important aspect for any pharma company to be not just in the advanced markets, even to be operational in your own country. I think it is time for every pharma company to understand that regulatory compliances is to be taken as a given, and for which I fully agree with Girish when he says that you need to use technology, or technology becomes the backbone for ensuring that we are absolutely in a compliant environment. Training has its merit, while it does help us improve a lot. If you augment it with technology, you are ensuring that your failure chances are almost nil. This is done if you are using the right technologies and integrating all the technologies to it. What Anup mentioned was very important, where he was mentioning about how you can bring all the data to single points and you're able to make each data talk to each other. That's one of the challenges. Any organization grows over a period of time. And when you're growing over a period of time, one of the challenges you're going to pass through the regulatory changes which happen over a period. What was an acceptable practice 5 years back would become an unacceptable practice. What was not known 5 years back become known today and needs to be better tracked and better controlled. So in this kind of an environment, the best bet is to invest in technology, the right technologies, to make sure that you are able to manage all your regulatory compliances using the appropriate technology. There is always an outcome in terms of the productivity improvement, which happens as part of the compliances. It seems like a cost at the beginning. If you're looking at a relatively smaller sector company, they will look at it as a cost, saying that can we manage it with our people itself? I would say that that's a mistake many companies make, because based on the size of the organization, the kind of people you're able to bring in, the talent you're able to bring in, would also have its set of advantages and disadvantages. To be cost competitive, a relatively mid-sized organization would invariably have a compensation bracket which would not attract the best industry people, which ends up with a situation where they need to be more efficient. Now, how are you going to make them more efficient? If they're going to have more number of regulatory issues, they're going to become inefficient, even though they are mentally prepared to go that extra. Adopting the right tools is very important for ensuring that the productivity of the person is supported adequately. Training with right technology will definitely make a lot of difference. We are moving now into a data-driven world. Everything is data-driven. And I'll just give a small analogy for everybody to understand my thought. You might have grown, the company would have grown over a year, maybe 10, 15 years, you're into manufacturing, you have the same facility. It's not an asset that you can quickly change or quickly make differences based on the changing scenario. So there would be a lot of information which would have been captured over a period of time. There would be some understanding of the equipment, the machines, the way they're working. Now, if this information is all into paper format, it becomes a knowledge which is lost over a period of time. Employees turnover, the your heads turnover, all this leads to a situation where a lot of knowledge gets lost. If you build a proper integrated system where you're able to store all your data, then this knowledge, when you're bringing in newer technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, all of it together, you can use it on a consistent basis. You can become ready for every change. That is the most critical power of the technology which we need to keep in. There has when we are looking at, I heard Anup mention about some equipments where you are able to pull the data directly from the equipment. Different equipments have different ways in which they give the data. You need to bring it together and make it in a format where all the data is in a similar format and able to work on that base data and bring out directions for your people to operate. The leadership team should be in a position to get alerts, get decisions, and for which you need to have the right technology. And let me first also bring to everybody's notice that I am not a person from the quality side or from the manufacturing side. So there are limitations in what I would be saying. But more from a strategic perspective and a leadership perspective, I believe that unless you have the right investments made, you would not be in a position to get the benefits of the other investments you're making, be it a training investment, be it a new equipment investment that you're making. To get the best out of it, you will need to invest in your information technology, because that's going to make a significant difference to how well you will be operating in the market. I will just stop at this point. We can have more discussions, and I think it will be more from the Q&A session that we will see what people are thinking.
Yeah, just to add, Mr. Kiran, what you just now said was, if you remember the AVAX coming in, when there were defense thing was happening, airborne warning systems, AVAX, they came in
and control systems
and they call them as the force multipliers.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So and India was not able to afford them at the initial days, right? And they were very worried how to handle things. And today now we have quite a lot of them, right? So what I was I would say IT has now become more of a force multiplier for everyone.
Absolutely. I think you have rightly put it. Yes, it's a multiplier. And the lack of right investments, I would not say investments, I would say right investments. That's what you want. And you need to really draw out the entire landscape before you make that investment. Typically, we see that the problem which I see, Anup, is in most of the organizations, we look at each item in silo and we build in a technology for the item. So having a CIO will make a lot of difference, and so the IT infrastructure is built in such a way that there's an integration for your entire process. It's not just your manufacturing, because this event is all about manufacturing regulatory. But okay, you've done extremely well in the manufacturing and regulatory. Have you linked it to your pharmacovigilance? Have you linked it to your sales teams, your marketing teams? Have you linked it to your operations, making sure that you're having a seamless supply chain, and the supply chain is also being benefited from knowing that where my raw material is, I know the lead times, the systems bring it out exactly. Can we go into that kind of a system? Ensuring that the rejection rates are less, even if there is something, when you mentioned about predictive analysis. So if you are looking, if there is a predicted, damage or a predicted problem on a machinery, can we think of that indicating to my distribution channel that, okay, this product might fall short, and can I look at rationing it or ensuring that there is an equitable distribution so that all my stock points are very adequate, rather than just going in on and on. These are certain things which can happen. And over the coming future, what I see is that with artificial intelligence, we'll be in a position to make a lot of these decisions automated and help the human being who is interacting to take a more informed decision. Finally, the decision is going to be a human decision. There will never be a point where all our data and all our information is going to be stored onto the systems. Be it a factory, be it a regulatory person, there will be one, I would say today possibly about 95, 97% of the information would be there in the system. 2 to 3%, but the 2 to 3% can also make a mess if you're trying to eliminate the human.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just a few thoughts. Yeah, and leave the rest of the matter. Share that
Thank
thought.
you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Kiran, for sharing insights. Now, on similar lines, I would like to invite the thoughts of Mr. Rishikesh Sabnis from Aarti Industries. So, what are your thoughts, Mr. Rishikesh, on this?
Thanks, Ekta, and thanks, Anup, for the very insightful presentation about what you have been doing on Industry 4.0. And really insightful to also listen to my other panelists, particularly where Grace said that, technology is not a choice, but a necessity. And also Kiran talked about various aspects where, regulatory compliance and investing in technology to bring out synergies and other investments. That was quite insightful. I think among the panelists, actually don't come from the pharmaceutical industry. So my relation with the pharma industry is more as a supplier. So we make specialty chemicals which are used in various industries, one of them being pharma. Actually, Aarti Industries historically had a pharma division, but last year we kind of demerged it into another entity, which I'm not a part of. But we have been very closely associated with these problems, and being a process industry, chemicals also have a very similar kind of needs, where it might be, whether it is health, safety, environment, or other aspects related to quality, consistency, meeting the reliability of our processes, etc. So there are a lot of synergies, or the Industry 4.0 concepts are very relevant to the chemical industry as well. And in fact, Aarti Industries has started on its digitalization journey last year. We have a long strategy. We've begun with the business processes, but over time, we also intend to, have those sensors and other things which can integrate with the BCS and SAP as well to give us real-time insights. Now, in fact, when I look at, any organization, right, I kind of like to look at it as a system. And if you look at a system, there are, components which can be humans or machines in the system. And then there are interactions between the components and the transformations that they bring about to create value. So I think technology and particularly Industry 4.0 will be impacting the kind of interactions and transformations that will be brought about. And of course, that will have an impact on what the components or the humans do as a job. So as you rightly said, it will not basically make you unemployed, but it will replace your current job and make it a different job for the future. And that is where humans and AI need to work together to bring the value which will be required in the future. I think as a learning organization, if we are to become a learning organization, we first need to listen, and to listen to our machines as well, right? So that is why Industry 4.0 will be very handy to bring about changes in the way we work, and to add value and remain competitive in the future, which will be very different from today. So I think it's very insightful, and look forward to further interactions with the other panelists. Thank you.
Talking about future, I would also say one thing, man, Rishi, if you have the system which you buy is expandable easily, right? Rather than hardware, this can be simply.
It has to collaborate with other parts of the organization.
Yeah.
Like, let's say if we take a CRM, it has to speak with the SAP, it has to speak with other parts, the organization, the manufacturing side. Otherwise, the value created is very limited.
Exactly.
But if it speaks, then there is much more, multiplier effect, as you said.
I'll give you an example. There is this product, Wonderwear, of same Schneider, right? Now, Schneider Wonderwear and what we have with that, we could have put Schneider also. That is cheaper. Wonderwear is a cheaper version, but it is not expandable. It sticks to one point, stays there, and once I need to extend it, it just cannot extend it.
Yeah.
Right. It has a limitation. So that is how now we have to look at products which are stretchable, because your growth will be. I remember about a company which was 8,000 crore in third year, they were 24,000 crores. Right. Now, these kind of sudden growths are there because they were able to find just one single specialty chemical. I don't know if you are knowing about that company. I would not like to name it because I know we have done some work for them.
Okay.
बट वो DCM इनको ही है, उषा वालों की ही है वो कंपनी, एंड सडनली 24,000 पे पहुंच गए वो लोग, एंड दे आर एक्सपेक्टिंग अ बिगर ग्रोथ, राइट, बिकॉज कोई एक प्रोडक्ट लकीली दे वर एबल टू गिव टू द मार्केट. So if they don't have a product, a system which is expandable, they are stuck.
I think that's very appropriate. I mean, whatever investments we do, maybe we have to think about what
Exactly.
our size will be in the future and the scale that we'll be able to achieve, whether the system will support that or not. So, yeah.
So we are talking to a company for 2 years. We are saying now remove that old system, put this one. Poor guys are not able to, decide.
Right.
We
And
are
what you rightly said
continuing to
about
talk.
ITC, right? That the operating person on the shop floor needs to approve that this is a system to be taken.
Exactly.
That's very true. I mean, I think that's a very appropriate way to judge whether the
Yeah.
system is, because at the end of the day, adoption of the system is what is key. Because you may implement a
Absolutely.
system, but if people are not going to use it day in and day out, then there is no point of having.
Yeah. Profit lies there only. Let me
Absolutely.
tell you, all profit lies there. If he is comfortable, the profit is there.
Yeah.
Over to Ek.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rishikesh, for sharing your insights. Now, can I invite the insights of Mr. Peenal Shah from EPCA on the similar lines? So thank you, Mr. Peenal, for joining, and please share your thoughts.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
you are audible.
I'm audible. Okay. So nice presentation from Ecubics with respect to data integrity, regulatory requirements, and manufacturing process efficiency. So as a QC guy, so nowadays regulatory requirements is more difficult for the QC, particularly in pharmaceuticals. So if you are looking, the most of the points that the US FDA and other regulators are identified in the audits is 90% of the quality controls and quality systems. So if in QC there are technology driven softwares is there, so most of the time if the software is not there, so very difficult to identify the root causes and errors on the manual basis. But if technology and these types of software is there, so we are able to show the auditor that we have these systems and this system has cached all the data which analysts are working on the platform during activities. So it is more powerful tools of quality control to controls in the audits as well as in the routines, because nowadays very difficult to work in the QC with regulatory requirement because of lots of compliance controls is required to address all the queries, because after all working are the human beings. So human being tendencies, definitely they are doing the errors during the working. So that we need to counter with the technologies. So nowadays, IFCA is focusing on the automation for all the activities which human perform. But after all, human is required to enter the data also. So that part is also the main during the things of technologies. So this is my insight on this Ecubics. Other than one more thing in QC is most critical is the investigations of incidents auto specification during the analysis. So if you are looking for the points in a current scenario, so there will be one point from investigation which is not satisfactory, identify the root causes. Okay, so if Ecubics is providing the solution for that, it is very useful to pharmaceutical industries to eliminate these points from the regulatory audits. Okay, and last but not the least is data integrity. Data integrity is starting from the human and ends with the systems. If our systems are not so efficient, there will be chance for data integrity. If our controls are not arrest the errors of the human or the software, so that will be problem during the audits. So these are the 3 points: data integrity, regulatory requirement, and quality systems, and OS investigation. These are the main course in a days to find audits during the regulatories. So this is in Cubics is providing solution for that. That will be good for the pharmaceutical industries to eliminate this common and in every point in every audit. These are the points. Equibix is more means efficient providing solutions. That is my learning from this. Okay. So thank you and thank you Equibix and thank you other panel. Okay.
I mean,
Thank you, Mr. Pinasha.
one
Yes,
thing I
Mr.
can
Anup.
tell you is 80% of the data, अगर आप चाहते हैं तो, can be completely put into the into this BMR and automatically. No human intervention may be required. So that is of course up to you. You can make it manual. You can make it automized. Automation will cost you naturally because then
Yes,
there'll be
definitely.
sensors and connections, and then so the same thing, same product which I am saying can be taken, and we can make 80% to percentage is a very deceptive thing. So let's not talk about percentage. I would say in 1,000 data, 5 or 6 will be required by a human. Most of the other data would be coming quite easily to your sheet.
Yes, definitely. So we are also working on that right now.
Yeah. Slowly the
For the
demand of
optimization.
GMP is now coming into that.
Yes.
Now they are asking
Yes.
people to, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I think we had insights coming
Kiran
in
sir,
from.
no, I think Kiran sir कुछ बोल रहे थे.
Yes, please.
You were mute. Now you're audible.
Insights from Mr. Pinasha. It was really interesting that he mentioned about the first and the most important thing. Error is human in nature. To make error is quite human in nature. And sometimes we have to understand our cultural background also. As Indians, we have a tendency to, not worry too much about data, about maintaining records. That's a challenge which we have. I'm sure Mr. Pinal will also agree, and even we should agree that
Definitely.
there's a challenge in all our businesses. So, people take decisions at the spur of the moment and they don't record it. This is a big challenge in most of the industries. And when you are talking of all those non-compliances, those FDA warnings, it's mostly got to do with something which is absolutely okay not being recorded. Okay. It is not possible. It's humanly and even technologically not possible not to have failure. A zero failure scenario is, almost, I would say it's a far-fetched dream, right?
Yes.
There could be a possibility of an error, but the ability to own up to the error and the ability to be in a position to document the error properly is also something which is very important.
Yes.
If you have more data points coming in from the systems, like Mr. Anup was mentioning about the EBM, it's a very good concept. Now, if you have all the details coming in from the EBMR and all the processes getting recorded, the challenge is there would be sometimes a requirement for making some changes to the settings and then not recording it appropriately into the BMR data. Now, these are the challenges which will continue to require other than a fully integrated system where every change in the settings, maybe a speed change in the compression machine or any force change, any one of it can be immediately by the machine itself, the data gets communicated. It will make a big difference in the way we operate our organizations. The second thing from again from Mr. Penal, he was mentioning about investigations. The investigations will become much more robust. It will come to the root cause analysis. I help you identify exactly where the problem is. If more data is fed into your information pipeline. And data integrity is something which, as a culture, we need to build. And it is building. I'm not saying that it's not building. It is a time-taking process. I would say it would take more than generations because it starts right at your school level. How do we look at it at school? Do we really seriously look at our school children looking at the data points so effective? I think that change when it comes in, we will say that culturally we would have changed.
Culture is the most important thing.
Actually,
We are not
kids, that I know.
Yeah, you just think of it. A kid coming out of a college, there is a lot of fear in our systems. So you just see somebody who's coming out, passing out of a pharmacy college. They did something wrong. They try to adjust the figures, and they manage. Okay, maybe a titration, you didn't get the result, but this is the result I need to get. Because we have a rote learning system, we know I must get a pH of 7.3. I will write the figure of 7.3, whether my experiment gave me 7.3 or not.
Yes,
right? This is a problem. And for him, this kid who has passed out to come into the industry and suddenly realize 7.25 is 7.25 becomes a challenge. He does not understand it, appreciate it. It takes seniority, repeated training. And this is where, if you have proper, like a EBMR with a lot of controls and every data point, like a QC, in the QC also, you are expected to have certain standards. Anything falling out of the standards, immediately getting alerted. It helps become much more efficient. Yes, the wrong data also or the inaccuracy of data is something which is a problem. But if somebody has really done a mistake, it's important that we build the culture that the mistake is clearly explained and the remedy is also properly documented. That is what will give any regulator all the
Can I call you back? I'm in a meeting actually.
One more thing is more important. Technology and softwares also eliminate the chance of second theft.
Hello.
If our data is not in favor of us,
correct.
That time we thought about if there is no any system of manual system. We are trying to falsification of data to avoid such documentation and clean the document. So technology and software will also eliminate that chance.
Yes.
And
Because,
brings only one thought.
This is something which has been consistently happening. You can see through these nowadays the softwares let you have a forensic trail where you are able to see that any kind of record which has been altered with or tampered with gets very clearly captured. It has a lot to do with the technology. Industry goes 4.0, 5.0, 6.0.
Humans are still there, right? Humans don't change very quickly.
Yes.
So that's a very good point you made, Kiranji. It was very pertinent about the culture and the cultural aspects of Indian population as such. Also, it's very pertinent. But I would say within the organization, we of course we cannot change the culture overnight, but we can create incentives and environment of psychological safety so that people can report their errors without fear. And that is very important as an organization. If you are to become a world-class organization, you have to encourage and not punish people for reporting errors. which is something which is in our hands as leaders to do, right?
Absolutely. I think Rishikesh, you have hit the nail on the head. How do we encourage? How do we ensure? I won't say incentivize, that will lead to more errors.
That's a perverse incentive, maybe. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Definitely, we should motivate them and make them understand the cost of non-compliance or non-reporting the factors. Because you might have managed to get the product, it goes all the way right up to the consumer. We need to just bring in one thought into each and every employee in the pharma sector. That is, my product is finally reaching a human being,
Human.
right? It's reaching a life, and my inefficiency or my insensitivity, I won't say inefficiency, insensitivity could cause damage to another human being. So morally, I'm responsible for delivering the best.
Yes.
That thought has to be driven into every single employee. The problem is most of the time employees do not see themselves impacting lives of other human beings. We need to educate them to understand that their action impacts the lives of others. That will bring about a change in the way they work and use technology. Just a few thoughts.
Anuji, you're on mute if you're speaking.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely right. When we were many years back, I had this college debate, which I won finally in my MBA, during my MBA. So they had this big debate, and they talked about dowry. Okay, dowry. And we finally could come out only one thing, that it is the self-morality which can stop dowry. Nothing else can. Similarly, when it comes to this data keeping, self-morality, this adhering to norms, self-morality. If I don't take a wrong U-turn at my road, we can see what is happening to Indian roads. And if you go to Singapore, this lady will not cross the road until there is a green signal, right? And when I was going there, I was walking aimlessly, walking at 6 a.m. in the morning, taking a walk in Singapore. Kuch nahi hai. Then a lady was, like she pointed out to me, this red light, what are you doing? And I then realized कि भैया ये civilized country है, मैं कहीं और से आया हूँ. And so they are, अब उन लोग के लिए it's much easier to handle these things than for Indians. True. Both important.
I would not put it there. Maybe I have a slightly different take on it.
Yeah, please.
It is not about, it's about how you grow up. It's a lot of hard coding. It's like you say, the software. There's a lot of software which is written into each one of our brains much earlier. Now we need to delete some of those softwares. We need to reinstall fresh software. So this is a process, and sometimes it takes a generation. It will take a generation, but we have to be patient. We have to work with everybody in this period. Well, one of the important things which I felt is something which we need to look at is how do we build in the good interface between the technology and the people using the technology.
Absolutely.
Many a times I see that we can bring in the best of technology, but we don't educate the people on how the technology is going to impact. Let's just take the EBMR for a process. The EBMR also, the first thing it does is puts pressure on your operators, pressure on everybody in the workflow. That aaj tak it was not getting recorded. I used to write the BMR after the entire batch is finished, and now it's happening step by step as the product is moving. So there is a lot of mindset change which needs to be done. And so,
big culture shock.
Yeah, any technology change has to be followed up or supported along with education also, a train, culture shift in getting the team to work with the new industry 4.0, 5.0, or 6.0. the human needs to be considered. I think sometimes we tend to miss the human.
We tend to miss. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely right. So bang on. In fact, it's not one single solution. It's a combination of human intelligence plus artificial intelligence. That is going to make us win this war. Maybe if you see it as a competition from the Western countries or even from the countries like China. So India is growing as a global pharmaceutical hub. It's becoming a global pharma for the entire world. So when we see that, it comes with some responsibility also, which you rightly mentioned, Kiran, that it's also the cultural change and it's also the technological change. So both the things have to go hand in hand, and then only that actually the road leads towards the final destination, which is safe on the human and safe on the business both.
And the
But
planet as well.
to add, Girish, what you have mentioned, the challenge is India has leapfrogged when it comes to technology. Okay, we have jumped generations and reached. See, when we look at computer, possibly the first computer that I saw was when I was in my graduation, just completing my graduation. And if I look at a person of my similar age in the US, he has seen this way before. Correct. But today, when I look at the kids, they're growing up with all these computers. So this change will happen. But our pace at which we have grown on the technology front is far faster than the growth on the other areas, like the cultural
Absolutely.
area where we need to
Very well put.
look at data, work with data. That has not grown at the same pace. People in India have, it's not our curriculums which have helped our people reach such significant positions. It's the innate intellect which Indians possess. In fact, we are a blessed lot, I would say, that on an average, most Indians are very well, have a good intellectual power. And that's what leading to all these business houses and others having Indians at the helm of our affairs, right? So that change we will see. It is going to be a transformative change for the next couple of years. We are going to see that, not couple of years, I would say 5 to a decade. You will see India will transform totally. And then we will not be talking about data integrity issues, but possibly by then the
We'll be talking about the new things.
Yes,
They're talking about the innovation, being
Innovation.
a pioneer in the new drugs, new molecule development.
Absolutely. We need to cross the curve, but we will definitely be there. That's the confidence I have when I interact with many of the youngsters, especially in the science area. The level of intellect they come with, the level of depth they come with is amazing.
I think
So many thanks, Kiran sir. मुझे भी positive किया आपने. Thank you.
Can I add a couple of points on this? Very, very insightful talk, Kiranji. But just I think as we look beyond, right, we have to look beyond India also, like, because we are facing global scale challenges, right, whether it is climate change, sustainability, etc. So it's eventually you have to go beyond, just your country or anything, but also look at the entire environment as a whole. And that is why, even our view of competition, or even Grace mentioned about, winning the sort of war. The war is not with, another country, but with, wanting to survive and thrive on this planet, right? So it has to be looked at as an ecosystem, and where your competition is not really your competition in the narrow sense. But you can collaborate, you can partner, you can thrive together.
Yeah.
So Ashutosh here, I have joined very late, but I wanted to put my view also, and I was not aware what is being discussed, but I have just heard, and then what I have felt, I'm in pharma industry in the quality. So in India, we have a challenge, first of all, that the people are not having the integrity. This is a challenge because culturally, we from the childhood, if you see on the road, if you are driving, and if no policeman is there, you will have tendency to cross the red light. Okay, so the culture where we have to follow the procedure even if nobody is observing. And when we have that achieved, then only we can say that yes, there is no possibility of any data integrity. So in our environment where we are there is a regulation, lot of regulations are there. So automation is helping us in ensuring that there is no possibility of data integrity, because you are going away from the dependency on the human, and that is the way we are actually going ahead in ensuring the data integrity. So automation will help us. All the digitization and automation will help us in going away from the human dependency, and automatically will achieve the objective of ensuring the data integrity. So this is very, very important part. And once we'll have this, then we can think of what we are thinking right now for the next step. But right now, this is the biggest challenge for us, and we day in day out we are facing a challenge.
Yeah, rightly that the challenge is not technology. Technology we can bring technology. It's people's integration with technology. I think Anup, from your company, you need to come out with something where the human to software integration is possible. That would be the ultimate.
No, so now with the AI tools, maybe we are now see number of AI tools are being now used every places. So I'm hopeful that in the future we'll have something to, like we have light detector and all. So something will come which will actually course correct the people. People will be able to correct themselves when they will understand that how to actually improve myself. So there should be some tool to guide me, give me the feedback, because taking feedback from the people is very painful, because nobody wanted to listen bad about himself. So if some tool will come who will give you the feedback, right feedback, and then you work on that to improve yourself, that will be a good input.
So become a reality, then automatically people will follow the signals, right? Because the car will not, they will only follow the signals. So you have to automatically, if you want to stay alive.
No, ultimately, we sum everything up, finally, why the tools are required? Why does this civilization of a human required a tool? They were smart guys when they came up, right? Imagine living in those days without clothes in the weathers that they were there, right? If you see Aborigine homes, अगर आप देखेंगे तो I think Turkey या Tunisia में एक जगह है jahan underground some beautiful caves have been made by those guys, right? So tooling this is also part of a tool to handle our problem. हाँ, धीरे धीरे करके वो प्रॉब्लम डिसअपियर हो जाएगा, तो ओके, टूल may change, then the tool will be required to handle the other problems. So for the timing, for data integrity, yes, we have this thing. We give you automatic data entry, everything will be there. Again, there'll be some problems. You'll be making some losses. A few आपको हो सकता है batches को आपको throw करना पड़े, right? But when the people see that, my take is that nobody desires to do a wrong work. Very rare there is a desire for a bad work. Very rare there is a desire for a कि मुझे चोरी करनी है. ऐसा डिजायर बहुत कम होता है. हाँ, नीड होती है उसकी बेचारे की, and he ends up doing that. He thinks that is the only shortcut available. It takes that. Okay, and then normally it is guided by other things. कि हमारा politician भी कर रहा है तो हमारा क्या दिक्कत है, चलो हम भी करते हैं. That kind of a thing, But once you are caught, once things are available, anyway, New York is the biggest crime center of the world. Now tell me, what is the need of New York being the biggest crime center? So there are so many things that human के ऊपर तो हम लोग बहुत बड़ा literature लिख सकते हैं. But अगर coming back to our tool, coming back to our systems, as eCubix, we are trying our best to give you those simple industry 5 tools that will, make the life of this person who wants to really do a right work easy. वो 25 बैच पे genuinely sign करना चाहता है कि मैं, and I've seen those people. 25 बैचेस पे उस बेचारे को बैच रिपोर्ट चेक करनी है हर रोज, अनूप गर्ग वहां पे खड़ा हुआ है, लड़ रहा है उससे, मुझे जल्दी बैच रिपोर्ट दे, मुझे डिस्पैच करना है, माय कंटेनर इज स्टैंडिंग आउटसाइड, एक्सपोर्ट होना है एंड ऑल दैट, एंड उसको, बट दैट पुअर गाय इज चेकिंग, वो टेस्ट रिपोर्ट देख रहा है, वो ये देख रहा है, वेल वी कैन गिव हिम अ टूल नाउ कि देख यार ये सब हो गया, अभी तू यू कैन डू दैट, दैट्स इट। Yeah.
Definitely.
One more thing is there. What happens now? Sometimes this the root cause for the DI is also sometimes people do mistake because we are human being. There will be some error. Error happens. We try to hide it, and there is the problem. If you report yourself your problem, then there will not be a issue. They
In
try
our
to
case,
hide
no.
it.
In our
When
case,
you
they've added this paper trail. Beautiful thing, boss. You click a button on paper trail, immediately वो अपने आप ही highlight करेगा. See, he knows on the paper it has already come. आपने wrong sign किया on a check, okay? अनूप गर्ग का check sign कर रहा है अमित गर्ग, okay? So Anup knows कि okay, this is a फर्जी check, right? तो he will come and say, boss मैंने sign किया था, sorry, अभी क्या करने का है? मैंने नहीं इसको deposit किया, अभी छोड़ दो, right? So paper trail is there. So what will happen slowly, these guys will, when they know they can be caught, why will they then tell a lie? That kind of a thing.
many times they try to do a lot of innovation to hide their mistake. I'm telling you, I have seen people are doing so much jugaad just to ensure that I am not caught. So
I know.
lot of cultural issues are there. Anyway, so this automation is helping, no doubt.
Okay, so I think we are already above time with this interesting panel going on, no doubt. Before the part, I think Anup, I had just had one question from you for the audience, and then obviously we'll close the session. So Anup, especially for you, what would be that one or maximum key 2 points very quickly that you would like to make about eCubics as a unique provider of the solutions that you have spoken about in this entire session? So, and that would be a wrap, I guess. Yeah, over to you.
See, I'll tell you, apart from sheer experience, right? Apart from sheer experience in cross-country industry best practice learning, eCubics is one of the oldest ones who started doing this work for Schneider. eCubics has a solutioning approach rather than implementation approach, I would say. We don't implement things. We make a solution out of it. Because we were taught by ITC, operator से बात करो, वो हिंदी में बात करेगा, आप इंग्लिश में सुनोगे, आपका प्रॉब्लम है, understand him and do it. It was Bhadrachalam, and it was a very tough thing to talk to them in that language, and we realized how tough it was, but we did it, right? This approach sets it apart from all other system indicators. And as I've attempted to show during our presentation, despite being an IT company, we do have wealth of domain knowledge in pharma industry. Each of the use cases that we have, put part of DigiPharma has a distinct ROI in terms of improvement in batch quality. Where golden tunnel, we will give you golden batch. You can see and control batch quality, improve your asset reliability, condition-based maintenance immediately will lead to that. Longevity as well as availability directly impacting the OE. Again, money. OE is all about money. Right inputs to optimization models, like in case of data quality module, which will make sure that database errors are not there. All these points, sets us completely apart from all other similar, say solution providers. That's all I could sum it up. I hope I was able to justify this thing.
Yes, of course, of course. So I think that was a great session and thoughts from all the speakers from our end. So on that note,
Thank
I
you
would
so
like
much.
to thank all our audience for really taking out your time on Friday evening and being there throughout the session. Thank you, Mr. Gresh, Mr. Kiran, Mr. Rishikesh, and Peenal for joining, and Mr. Vanu for sharing your insights and giving us the opportunity to collaborate and host this entire roundtable discussion. We shall be sharing the entire video session with our speakers and the audience, and we shall be reconnecting also with you for arranging some quick brainstorm sessions with eCubics about their solution, which they have spoken and catered to. So I think that would be okay, that only your convenient time and date would be required. So our respective persons will be reaching you out on that. And so on that note, thank you once again, everyone. Take care of yourself and stay safe and have a lovely weekend. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for bringing your heart out, because मैंने देखा इस बार a lot of heart was there. Thank you so much.
That's interesting.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much, everyone.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys. Yeah.
everyone.